Hey, it's Jana, Mom Sorge, with another General Hospital update for the week of September 12th to the 16th. Alrighty, well, let's see. So, Hayden donates blood to Elizabeth to save her life. And then, in turn, not knowing that that's who saved her and that she's her sister also now, didn't realize, so Elizabeth had Sabrina take the diamonds to the police. So she has ruined Hayden's life after Hayden saved hers. But she's trying to work on a way around it. So Hayden ends up rearrested before she can even get out of the building. Alexis is prepping for trial. Molly is, trying to do it the way an opposing attorney would and be really rough, and she's doing a good job. It's just getting a little rough on Alexis, but she's holding her own. So that's going well. Morgan has applied at Fort Charles University, PCU. And, he's a little here, a little there, but he seems like he's mostly excited over the classes and stuff. And let's see. Kevin sought out Lulu to ask her advice if she has any advice about apologizing to Laura. Because, well, Laura's still over in Switzerland or wherever that boarding school is that Spencer's at, so who knows? But in the meantime, they end up chatting about things that her and Dante talked about, like the baby. If they find this embryo and she carries the baby, will she really be able to raise a child of someone who, kidnapped her, performed invasive medical experiments on her, almost killed her, all those other things? Will she really be able to handle it? And she's already thought of those questions, and she thinks that she can. She said, I have my half-brother Nicholas, and, my mom raised him, at least mostly. So, or partly, so it's like, she's like, yeah, I think I can do this. Mom did it, so I can do this. Except Mom left for a few years, so it's a little different. We'll see, though. Okay, so Sabrina is rehired at the hospital. Michael's a little concerned. He thinks she should wait till everything has been solved. Well, Sabrina, that's not really her style, so she goes back to work. Sonny gives Julian one last chance to take his deal, to plead guilty, and if he does, then Sonny will make sure he's protected at Pentonville. If not, take his chances. So, the hospital board, meanwhile, wants to close GH because they're afraid of being held liable, knowing that there was this going on in the hospital and keeping it open. So, let's see. And because of this, Jordan, Andre, and Nathan are working really hard on the case. And there is one thing, all of the patients had a similar stomach bug. Almost like they were infected, so they would go to the hospital where the killer could get at them. So, you see, we're not dealing with a serial killer. We're dealing with someone with a grudge, an axe to grind. And for whatever reason, these patients are fitting the bill for a specific thing. And the doctors represent something as well, because they don't just change. There's a reason behind it, a rage behind the people that are picked. So, let's see. And he was meticulous. He was doing everything meticulously. That is, until the power outage. When the power went out and Liz saw him that night, or when Liz saw him that night, and the power went out, he had to improvise. So he pushed her down the stairs. He's had to do more improvising. It's just getting, he's starting to unravel. So, let's see. Meanwhile, Paul is on the phone with his daughter, Susan. But it's it sounds like a conversation. You know, he's talking about how he's sorry he had to miss her birthday, hopes she enjoys the cake he sent her, and he has one more gift for her, and that hopefully, and then he'll be back. And you know, it's funny, he's saying all the right things, but to me, now this is just my opinion, it doesn't sound like he's actually talking to anyone to me. Sounds like he's either just leaving a message that I'm not even sure there's anyone to hear. Because I think that Susan is dead. And that is what sent Paul on this whole quest. I think that whatever happened to Susan after she was attacked by Kyle Sloan years ago, something happened more recent, and I think she ended up dying in a hospital. And I think this is the way of getting payback in some kind of a way. Okay, so Paul attacks Monica in her office just as she gets done telling Epiphany she doesn't want to be bothered because she has a lot of work to do to keep the hospital open. And he sneaks up behind her and injects her. He leaves the office, closes the door, and as he's about to leave, he runs into Sabrina. So, Sabrina sees Monica on the floor, runs into the room, tells Paul to go get help, get the crash cart. He says he's going to go get help, quote unquote, but he kind of just wanders off. Sabrina starts doing CPR, and Monica begins breathing again. She stops, grabs the phone, calls the crash cart. They get there, she points out the needle mark, and they start treating her, and they send Sabrina to go call the police. Sabrina goes to call the police, comes across Paul, who it turned out never went for help, was just kind of aimlessly wandering. And then she sees a rubber glove in his pocket. So she's like, I'm gonna go to the nurse's station and call. And she turns and starts to run, and he grabs her. Ugh, I'm so upset. So Paul grabs Sabrina and drags her into an exam room and strangles her. It was so sad. Oh my God. So Michael has a ring. He's been wanting to ask Sabrina to marry him. He finally has a ring. He comes over to the hospital. He bumps into Felix. They chat. Felix goes to prep an exam room, and he finds Sabrina on the floor, and Mike goes right behind him. But she was already blue when Felix got there. He knew she was already gone. Poor Michael. Oh God. Anyhow, so Monica luckily wakes up and is told about she's questioned first, and she doesn't really remember anything except she smelled something that smelled like cologne or aftershave. And here's the interesting part. She said it smelled really familiar, like something she smelled around the house. That really limits the pool of people who it could be. So we'll see if they figure it out. So Sabrina is dead. Poor Michael, he sits with her, says his goodbyes, puts the engagement ring on her finger that he was going to give her, and then, tells a statement to Dante about how they found her. And so then someone goes and tells Monica, Tracy tells Monica and they're like, they decide they have to close General Hospital. Too much has happened, and they don't want anyone else to die. So General Hospital has officially been closed. Let's see, the Julian trial, on the other hand, here's a funny thing. Julian was actually going to give in, and then Scotty showed up with something. It turns out it was a warrant for the wiretap. Guess what? It had the wrong address on it. So the whole wiretap and anything related to the wiretap was thrown out of court. Now Alexis, who'd been practicing and is still a wreck, drinking Paul hands her what looks like a coffee, but considering the way she started acting on the stand, I'm fairly certain there was something in that coffee. Because she kept slurring her words and fumbling and repeating herself and changing what she said. And when she got dismissed, she stood up, started to walk away, and boom, passed out and almost hit the floor. Ironically, Julian is the one who caught her. So, anyhow, yes, General Hospital is closed, at least temporarily. Well, that is the end of this week's update, and I will get the next one out to you quickly in the next couple of days. Sorry these have been behind. Like I said, real life interrupted. I hope this has been good. If you have any questions, please leave them below or contact me at my contacts, which are also listed below. See you next time with another update. Bye.